Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever stood at the edge of your day and felt like happiness was something far out of reach, buried beneath the weight of stress, failure, or pain? Let me ask you, what if I told you that happiness is not found, it is forged by discipline, by thought, and by action? In the darkest moments of life, when the world tells you to give up, when circumstances press down on your spirit like a storm, that is when your power is tested. And it is in those moments, not the easy ones, that you must push yourself to do something most people never learn. Choose happiness. Not as a reward, but as a decision. You see, Napoleon Hill once said, "There is very little difference between people, but that little difference makes a big difference." The little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether it is positive or negative. And today I want to share with you how to unlock that difference, because no one wakes up happy every day by accident. They fight for it. They build it like a muscle. They claim it like a right. So if you're ready to stop waiting for happiness and start creating it even when life is hard, then this message is for you. Let's begin. Reprogram your mind for unstoppable confidence, because everything you want in life, success, love, achievement, peace, starts with the belief that you deserve it. Your mind is the control center of your reality. Every thought, every belief, every pattern you repeat either builds you or breaks you. Most people go through life operating on mental programs they didn't choose, programs handed to them by fear, by failure, by society, or even by the voices of those who doubted them. But just because you were conditioned to think small doesn't mean you have to stay that way. You have the power to rewrite your mental code. You have the ability to transform how you see yourself, and when that changes, everything around you begins to shift. Think of your mind like software. If the current version is filled with self-doubt, insecurity, and fear, what do you expect the outcome of your life to be? Crashes, errors, limited progress. But the moment you install new beliefs, ones rooted in confidence, discipline, vision, and purpose, suddenly your operating system becomes powerful. You stop hesitating and start acting. You stop apologizing for who you are and begin stepping into who you were always meant to be. Confidence doesn't come from what you have. It comes from what you tell yourself daily. Speak power to yourself, not poison. Most people don't even realize they've been running a script in their head that says, "I'm not good enough, I'll never make it, I'm not ready," on repeat. That internal dialogue becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the beautiful thing is that story can be rewritten. You don't need anyone's permission to start thinking differently. You just need a decision. Every time you face a challenge and tell yourself, "I got this," your brain rewires it. Every time you push through fear and do it anyway, your identity upgrades. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you create proof that you're capable. These moments add up. They become your new truth. The truth that you are powerful, that you are capable, that you can handle more than you thought. Your environment matters. What you listen to, who you talk to, what you feed your brain, these things become the bricks that build your mindset. If you're constantly around negativity, you'll start doubting. If you consume only fear-based content, your imagination shrinks. But if you fill your world with motivation, knowledge, vision, and people who lift you up, your belief system transforms. You start to expect greatness from yourself. And guess what? You begin to deliver it. Confidence is a habit. It's a daily practice. It's built in the small, silent moments when no one's watching. When you get up early, when you follow through on promises to yourself, when you keep going after failure. Those are the moments where confidence grows root. And once it's planted deep inside you, no failure can uproot it. Confidence doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you've trained your mind to move forward despite it. You weren't born with limits, you were taught them. And if you were taught them, you can unlearn them. Start by questioning every belief that makes you feel small. Ask yourself, who gave me this idea? Is this even true? Does this belief serve the person I want to become? That's how you clean the lens through which you see the world. Because the clearer the lens, the bolder your steps. You don't need a perfect plan to start, you just need the decision to believe. Because belief, once activated, unlocks your potential. It makes you speak differently, move differently, and demand more from life. When you believe in yourself, even if no one else does, you become dangerous. not to others, but to every excuse and limitation that ever held you back. You become the kind of person who inspires others to do the same, because confidence is contagious. Once you start walking in your truth, others feel permission to rise too. Turn your pain into power and purpose, because every struggle you've endured was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to develop you. Life doesn't hand out strength without challenge. It doesn't build warriors without a battle. The pain you've experienced is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your transformation. The question is not why you went through it, but what are you going to do with it now? Most people carry pain like a burden, letting it weigh down their mind, their confidence, and their future. But pain, when processed the right way, becomes fuel. It becomes the spark that ignites growth, the reason you rise, and the force that drives your mission. You've got to understand, your pain carries insight. It holds the lessons you couldn't learn any other way. It reveals your deepest values, your strongest boundaries, and your untapped strength. The person you are becoming is shaped in the fire of adversity. When life breaks you down, it's not to end you, but to rebuild you with more awareness, more resilience, and more purpose. Most people avoid pain at all costs, but those who grow, those who lead, those who change the world, they face it, they learn from it, and they use it. They don't let pain define them, they let it refine them. Think about your lowest moments, the nights filled with doubt, the heartbreaks, the failures, the betrayals. In those moments, you were given a choice: stay down or get up and rewrite the story. Every time you chose to keep moving, you grew. Every time you faced the discomfort, you evolved. That's the secret most people miss. Pain isn't permanent unless you make it a prison. But when you choose to confront it, to understand it, and to rise above it, you step into your power. Purpose is born from pain. The things you've suffered through can become the very things you teach others to overcome. The wounds you've healed can become the roadmap for someone else's healing. That's how leaders are made, not from easy lives, but from painful ones that they refuse to wait. When you stop asking why me and start asking how can I grow from this, you unlock a version of yourself that's wiser, stronger, and unshakable. Pain teaches you who you are, what you stand for, and what you're willing to fight for. And once you know that, nothing can stop you. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are not the ones who avoided struggle, but the ones who faced it and came out with a mission. They don't hide their scars, they wear them as armor. They use their story not to gain sympathy, but to give strength. You can do the same. Your story matters. Your voice matters. But first, you have to reclaim it. You have to own every chapter, the dark ones, the broken ones, the messy ones, because that's where your message lives. That's where your greatness is born. Every time you rise from pain, you are rewriting your future. You're showing yourself that you're not the victim. You're the author. You get to decide how the story ends. And as you step into that role, something incredible happens. The pain starts to serve you. It becomes the motivation to go further, the clarity to know what matters, and the strength to never settle again. Pain reminds you of your humanity, but it also reveals your divinity. It shows you that you're capable of rising from the ashes and building something beautiful, something meaningful, something that serves not just you but others too. There is no wasted pain if you decide to turn it into purpose. What once held you back can now push you forward. What once made you feel broken can now make you unbreakable. And the moment you decide that your pain will no longer be your prison but your platform, you unlock a level of power that no one can take from you. Success begins the moment you refuse to quit. It doesn't begin when you win or when everything falls into place or when people finally notice you. It begins the exact second you decide that no matter how many times you fail, you will not give up. That one decision shifts everything, because from that moment on, your life is no longer dictated by circumstances. It's driven by commitment. You stop reacting and start building. You stop doubting and start believing. Every great achievement you've ever admired began with someone who simply refused to stop. While others gave up, they kept going. While others let fear control them, they took one more step. That is the mindset that separates the average from the unstoppable. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they give up too soon. They quit when it gets hard, when the excitement wears off, when the applause fades. But the champions, the legends, the leaders, they understand that persistence is the price of success. They know that if you want results, you must be willing to outlast doubt, discomfort, and delay. It's easy to start something. It takes no effort to dream big. But staying in the game when it's tough, showing up day after day when no one is watching, that's where success is born. You build strength in the repetition. Every time you get knocked down and choose to stand up again, you become stronger. Every time you hear no and decide to keep knocking, you get closer to the yes that matters. Most people are 3 feet from gold when they turn back. They were right there, one more try, one more hour, one more bold move, and they would have broken through. But they let fear win. They let frustration convince them to stop. They let the silence fool them into believing that their effort wasn't working. But just because you can't see the reward yet, doesn't mean the work is wasted. Success is not just about skill or knowledge. It's about endurance. It's about who can keep going when the results are invisible, when the critics are loud, and when the pressure is real. It's about mental toughness, about having the kind of grit that refuses to surrender. Winners are not people who never feel doubt or fear. They're people who refuse to be ruled by it. They keep going not because it's easy, but because the vision inside them is louder than the noise outside them. You must become obsessed with progress, not perfection. Waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions will only lead to more waiting. Success doesn't require perfection. It requires momentum. Small steps forward every day, even if they're messy, even if they're slow, even if they don't look impressive to others. Keep moving, keep building, keep refining. The process is where the power is. The process is where character is shaped. The process is what prepares you to handle the success when it finally comes. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to strengthen your commitment. Every delay is a chance to build resilience. Every setback is a setup for the next level. But only if you refuse to quit. If you walk away too soon, you forfeit the lesson, the growth, and the reward. The pain of discipline will always cost less than the pain of regret. So when you feel like giving up, remember why you started. Remember the vision that woke you up. Remember the people who are counting on you, and the life you said you wanted to create. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need all the answers. You just need to keep going. When it hurts, when it's quiet, when it feels like no one believes in you, keep going. Because success isn't for the chosen few. It's for the relentless. It's for the ones who dig deeper, who stay focused, who choose courage over comfort. Again and again. You might bend, you might break, but as long as you don't quit, you haven't failed. You're still in the fight. And every day you stay in the fight, you're getting closer to the breakthrough that changes everything. Discipline is the shortcut to freedom. While most people chase quick results, temporary motivation, or effortless success, the few who truly rise to the top understand one thing clearly. Freedom is earned through consistent action, through showing up when it's hard, and through mastering the self before trying to master the world. Discipline may not look glamorous. It's early mornings, it's quiet hours, it's saying no when everyone else is saying yes. But that's where real success is built. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, when no one is watching, and you choose to keep going anyway. You see, people think freedom means doing whatever you want whenever you want. But that kind of freedom, without discipline, leads to chaos. It leads to regret, missed opportunities, and wasted potential. True freedom is the ability to control your choices, your emotions, your direction, regardless of the noise around you. And that level of control doesn't come from motivation. It comes from discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. It's the ability to move even when you don't feel like it, to commit even when it's inconvenient, to stay focused even when distractions surround you. Every successful person you admire didn't rely on willpower alone. They built systems. They trained their mind to obey their goals, not their moods. Discipline means waking up to your purpose every single day, even when it's not comfortable, even when you're tired, even when no one is clapping for you. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. Over time, those small disciplined choices compound into extraordinary results. Discipline makes you dangerous, not to others but to excuses. It silences the inner voice that says you can't. It crushes procrastination, fear, and indecision. Because when you've built discipline, you don't need to feel confident to take action. You act your way into confidence. You create momentum, not by waiting for the perfect plan, but by doing the work even when the plan feels uncertain. Discipline is what allows you to trust yourself, and when you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. Every time you show up for yourself, you are casting a vote for the future you want. Every rep in the gym, every chapter read, every dollar saved, every minute invested, it's all part of a bigger vision. It's easy to underestimate the power of small actions, but discipline understands the truth. The small things become the big thing. And when you stay consistent long enough, the world begins to notice. Opportunities come, doors open, not because of luck, but because you were prepared. Discipline prepares you for the life you said you want. There's a reason why most people never reach their potential. They get bored, distracted, or discouraged. They want fast results but aren't willing to build a foundation. But you are different. You understand that discipline is not punishment. It's alignment. It's putting your actions in harmony with your values and vision. It's waking up and doing what matters, especially when it's difficult. That's where greatness lives, in the repetition of excellence. The beautiful thing about discipline is that it doesn't depend on talent, background, or resources. Anyone can build it. It's a choice, a daily decision to rise above average and reach for excellence. And it's available to you right now. All it takes is the will to commit, to hold yourself accountable, to do what needs to be done, whether or not you feel like it. Because in the end, discipline gives you what motivation never can: results. It gives you mastery. It gives you the inner strength to keep going when others stop. It builds character, resilience, and an unshakable mindset that refuses to be defeated.